So when coming into the game, when the game starts, you just want to find out, can you play with these guys, you know? And when you come out and your defense is kind of reeling a little bit, and which has been the case, you know, before when we played Oscar Smith, and then we get a turnover in the first series, right? And you know, that's when you go, okay, we're going to be okay. We may not, I don't know if we're going to win or not, but at least I feel like we can play with them. Because when you look at them on film, they're so scary, they're so athletic, they're so big. Yeah, so once we got the juices flowing a little bit, and I told somebody out there, it felt like a heavyweight prize fight. You know, the one I remember watching as a kid, you know, on TV. The blows, the haymakers were just going back and forth, and nobody was quitting, and people were making plays all over the place on both sides of the ball. And you know, I really thought we were going to go into overtime. That last pick that Sadiq got to finish the game, I could have sworn Oscar Smith caught it, and I was thinking, I can't believe this is happening again. Very similar feelings all 3 years going through the final play of the game. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Questions?
Yeah, Coach. Could you speak to the frustration level of trying to get momentum with the heavyweight fight analogy?
Yeah.
There just was no place to get momentum. You do something good, and they turn around and do something good right back.
Exactly.
I mean, like a minute later.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's that feeling that you feel like it's slipping away from you, you know, and then somebody on your side makes a play, and you're like, okay, we're all right. And then they go making a play, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we can't, you know. But you know, that's the way a game like this should be, right? I mean, this shouldn't be a blowout. I mean, there should be two teams who deserve to be here battling back and forth and see who can make the adjustments and make the fewest mistakes. And, you know, it's a game that could have gone either way, just like the last 2 years.
How do you maintain in that moment where they make a play and you feel like, uh-oh, here we go. They're, you know, it's slipping away. How do you maintain to stay the course for the rest of these guys?
Yeah, you got to talk yourself off the ledge real quick, because if you start thinking a certain way, then you kind of close off possibilities. You don't think about, okay, what am I going to do next time we get the ball? You get that negative mindset going, and it doesn't help your team. So it helps to have been in this situation before. And it also helps to have good assistants who come over and, you know, get you to shake it off and start talking to you about what the next adjustment is, or what you need to do next.
I wonder if we could talk quickly, just get this out of the way, about the reverse.
Yeah.
What was the caller? What did you see?
You know, we had a lot of things in our back pocket through the last half of the season that we were just waiting for the right time to use, and you know, that's one of those times I had to talk myself off the ledge, because I really felt bad. Probably not a play I should have called. I was hoping to catch them, you know, gain some momentum, like the sir back there said. You know, you're trying to find a way to gain some momentum and not put your defense back on the field again, and all the weapons they have to. But in hindsight, I probably wish I hadn't called that play.
Taylor, can you walk us through that sequence of knowing that call, throwing the pick, and then coming back and making that play?
When I heard the call, I got excited, because I mean, I know that was a play that we had practiced, and I was excited.
Looks great against our scout team, doesn't it?
So yeah, I got the reverse, and they had pressure off the edge, and I tried to roll back. I saw Noah open up for a glance. I didn't see their safety back there. Cameron did a phenomenal job. So I mean, looking back on it, I should have just eaten it.
And then on defense, take us through what are the emotions like after that, and then what are the emotions like after you make that pick?
Well, personally, I was very upset with myself. It was a very stupid play. I shouldn't have thrown that ball. But the guys came up to me. They rallied with me, and we practiced change of possession every day in practice. So it was one of those things where they helped pick me up, and we got a turnover.
Nolan, you've been a part of this series now 3 years in a row, I believe.
Exactly.
What is it that you guys are able to pull it out each time, two heavyweight teams slugging it out? How do you guys keep pulling this out at the very end?
Just a lot of hard work coming into the week. You know, like Coach said, it's kind of hard, difficult to judge, but you kind of have a feeling you know what you're going to be going up against in a very athletic, big team like Oscar Smith. But just a lot of preparation there.
Noah, we talked earlier in the week, and I asked if anybody stood out for you from looking at the film, and you said 2 and 8, so Artisan and Cam Kelly. Did anybody else on their defense get your attention pretty early in the game?
Well, they brought a lot of pressure, and number 6 was coming out, off the edge pretty fast, and he was talking a little bit in the game, and so I knew, like, after every play he kept coming, I was like, okay, this guy's coming to me, I need to get the ball quick. Sometimes he got me, sometimes I tried to track down, but, he was pretty good.
The slant to Gavin that went, I think, for 88 or 89. Can you walk us through that at that point?
Yes, well, we ran that play before, but it was dropped. But we came back to it. We saw there was no safety in the middle of the field, and so I just wanted to take a glance to the left side to get the linebackers flowing, and then I had to trust Gavin, man on man, and I just threw it to him, let him do the rest.
Eugene, it seemed like, just like the South Lakes game, you got stronger in the second half. Was there anything run-wise you saw, or how do you keep getting stronger in the third and fourth quarter in these big games?
I think it's the adjustments we make at halftime. The coaches really try to make sure they break down the film and find ways they can expose the defense. And I felt that in the second half, they had a good plan to come out there and run our power plays and find open creases in the defense. And I think the adjustments we made at halftime just helped create up seams.
Rita? Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Coach, let me have you talk about specifically the role of turnovers in this game. Obviously, back and forth game, turnovers. Those favored you guys. How big was that stat or not? How big were turnovers in this game, sir?
Well, I mean, the stats say it, right? I mean, teams that win the turnover margin generally win the football game. So, and that kept some drives from turning into scores. I think we had, 2 turnovers. They were down close to our red zone.
Right.
So those are huge momentum changers, absolutely.
Joe, take me through the 2-point conversion play you guys had just scored, and it seemed like that was a big play to get a 7-point lead at that point in the game.
We usually have a series in practice where we practice our 2-point conversion plays, and it's just like a really simple play to just kind of get Bizette in the mix where, they're really focused on him because how tall he is and his red zone threat, and I just kind of sneak off behind everybody and work perfectly, so it's just what we practice.
Let me jump in with another one real quick for Coach. Obviously, congrats on the 3-peat to all you gentlemen. How does this one in particular stand out versus all the others? How is this one unique versus the others?
Probably of all 3 of the years, this might have been the year that I felt the least likely that we were going to return to a state championship game.
Why so?
Well, I lost quite a few coaches last year, so I had 6 new assistants going into the year. Certainly we lost a lot of players. It wasn't that we didn't have good players, it was just that, I was concerned a little bit about our offensive line, our size, our depth. That was probably my biggest concern, was the depth. Generally we've been deeper, had more guys in backup roles, more guys special teams wise, that could give guys a spell. This year we played a lot more guys both ways.
Okay.
And had to play a lot more starters on special teams. So, you're always playing with fire there when you got starters on special teams and playing both ways, and so that was a concern.
But what does it mean to the program that you came with those concerns and here you are again?
It's unbelievable. I mean, I don't know what we've got in the water, but it's impressive to me. It just says a lot about the people and the work that they put in and the culture we have. And the kids that graduated taught the younger kids how we operate, how we get it done in the weight room, playing other sports, all the things that we feel like make us who we are. So it makes me very proud, to be part of that. And it kind of says, we try to do things the right way, and so when you have success doing things the right way, making some of the hard decisions, it validates the way you're doing things.
Eugene, you talked about having, the adjustments at halftime. Could you speak also about the confidence that you had in your teammates to make, because, I mean, they had you in pretty good check in the first half, I think about 10 or 11 yards or so. You just really, I mean, did you just have that feeling that you were going to come out and break away at some point?
Initially, I would say I didn't, but one thing that drove me was my offensive linemen. They came up to me during halftime. I was kind of down on myself, and they said, "Eugene, we got your back. You know, go out there and be yourself and hold the ball high inside and fight for yards. And we're gonna open up holes." So I was just grateful for the offensive line going out there and busting their tail for me, and I think it was just them and the adjustments that helped the seams open up in the second half.
Noah, being a sophomore and a quarterback in the state championship game, a lot of eyes are on you. Obviously, you played a great defense today. What did your teammates and the coaches do to help prepare you and take that pressure off of you?
Well, last year I was lucky enough to experience being behind Ramon and just watching, every game, just how much they prepare, how hard it is, how hard he has to work, and learning the plays last year helped me this year and over the summer. Also the weight room a little bit, but so far yes. So yeah, it was just preparation, just watching film as much as we can, and the coach's game plan was like well set for me and myself, and I just had to shake a little jitters off in the beginning, and after that we were good.
Trying to quickly know them together. Did you know that they were going to put the ball in your hand to attack the secondary as much as you did? That being most of the game time?
Well, we talk about it all the time as a team that we're a running team first, and a lot of attention is drawn to Eugene because of how well he is in the backfield, and so him being back there, all the linebackers are keying on him, and the coaches do a good job of just seeing that, and then we can expose them because of how much attention is on Eugene.
Gavin, obviously that slant that goes 80 how many yards? 88, I think. What was, first of all, can you take us through that sequence, and then how much pressure was on you guys as a unit, the wide receivers, to win man-to-man tonight?
Well, yeah, it was an adjustment that we saw at halftime, and like Noah said, it was open in the first half, so we just wanted to go back to it. And he had confidence in me, and I had confidence in him that he could throw a good ball, and it was a perfect ball, and it was just a great game plan by the coaches. And what was your second question?
Well, you mostly answered it. Did you?
Well, we knew they were going to be keying in on Eugene. He's just an amazing runner, and so we knew as receivers we would have to make some plays, and we'd have to get away from our defenders. And so yeah, there was a good amount of pressure on us to make plays, but I think we stepped up to the task and completed and did well.
Did you think he was going to catch you? Did you think he was going to catch you?
I thought he did.
Nolan, Coach spoke to this earlier when you guys were on the field, but this win seems so much in formula with what this program does. You run the ball enough, you hit explosive plays, and you're disciplined on defense. As a senior in this program, how many times have you heard that in the last 4 years?
Definitely, I've been that's how they, I guess they bring us up through the system. You start out as a freshman, great freshman program, all the coaches are preaching the same thing. So when you get to the varsity level, you hear the same thing, you're used to it, and you're supposed to do the right thing here at Westfield. You represent Westfield and stick to our game plan, trust our coaches, and play for each other.
Well, how can you speak for your testament for your senior class, 3 championships? Not bad for the class of 18. You guys are one other senior up here?
Well, it's pretty amazing to be able to achieve that, 3 championships. I don't think I could have ever imagined it, but it's a great feeling, and these younger guys have a lot to do with it. And
You guys good? Great. Thanks, guys.